Hi everyone, welcome to episode 119 of the Arieknits podcast. My name is Ariel and this is a video podcast where I talk about all the things that I have been knitting and spinning on for the past week. Today it is Thursday, June 19th. I know, it's really weird. I normally record on the weekends, but I have free time today and I'm busy this coming week and I didn't want to leave you all with no video it's already been 2 weeks, I think. So I want to give you a 2-week update today, and should be good. I have just a few things to talk about. Excitingly, I have quite a few finished objects. I have no spinning. No spinning has happened in the past 2 weeks, which is a little sad, but I'm hoping to do some spinning like right after I film this video. I just want to spin like for the rest of the day. So let's get right into it. Starting with what I'm wearing today. It is one of the finished objects from a few weeks ago that I haven't had a chance to wear it on the podcast yet to show it to you all. This is the Market Henley by Claire Jackson. The yarn I use is Explorer Knits Earthy Sock in the colorway In Bloom, and I knit the size 36 inches. That's the finished circumference size that's supposed to be. And I used US 5 needles, 3.75 millimeter needles. And okay, I know I said the size is 36 inches. That's the pattern size instructions that I followed, but I did get about 40 inches in circumference at the end. Like I just measured this, and the fit is fine for me. I'm really happy with it. So I just wanted to let you all know. So that does give me about 10 inches of positive ease on this, and I'm really happy with the outcome of this. I thought, even before I wore it, I loved how it looked. I loved the yarn choice. I loved how it draped and how it felt and how it flowed, and it was great. And then I put it on, and I love it even more. I think it's so pretty. It's so cute. There is one thing I would change for the next time that I make this, because I do feel like this is a great pattern to have in just like different colors, maybe a tonal and a variegated, like all different. Like it's a great pattern. You can do long sleeve, short sleeve. The instructions I don't think have actual like short sleeve instructions, but I think what I have heard people do for this is because it's a pretty long, or like longer drop shoulder. So for me, if you can see, it ends right here. Like instead of picking up and making a sleeve, you can pick up and then just immediately like do a ribbing to keep it like a short sleeve. You don't even have to really make a sleeve, or you can just stop the sleeve shorter or anything, or do a long sleeve like I did here. So I think there's lots of options, and that makes it really fun. Here's my first version of this. I will stand up so you can see it. I am in love with the colors on this. It is a variegated colorway, but it looks really, really blendy and watercolory. Like it might be kind of hard in the camera to just see how many colors are in here, just because it is pretty blendy. And that is made in part due to the fact that the yarn base that this was dyed in is the non-superwash base from Explorer Knits, and I feel like non-superwash usually for like variegated colorways do kind of blend a lot more into each other, but I just absolutely love how this all turned out. I think it looks great in this stitch pattern. Stitch pattern is very easy to memorize, and so it was a very relaxing knit to work on. As you can see, I did not sew on any buttons yet. It is quite possible that buttons will not be on this for a very, 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 very long time, but I'm going to wear it anyway because I think it looks fine like this. I am wearing a t-shirt or like a tank top under this just because. I think there's 3 buttonholes. There's supposed to be 3. 1, 2, and 3. So we'll see. I think what I need to just like see the perfect buttons for this, and then I'll feel down to add them onto here. But in the meantime, I'll just be wearing it as is. Okay, I'm pretty sure that instruction-wise, I followed everything. Didn't really make any modifications. I think if anything, I lengthen the body, most likely, just so I could use up more yarn and just to make sure that it was a comfortable length for me, not cropped at all, because this is the kind of top, at least for this version, I did not really want a somewhat cropped version. I wanted a very comfortable version I can wear with all kinds of pants. Doesn't have to be high-waisted pants. For reference, my belly button's right here, and so it is like a good couple inches below that. Okay, but speaking of length, the next time that I make this, the sleeve length, as they are right now, is fine. I will wear it as is. But it is on the shorter side of what I prefer for my sleeve length. If I just like hold out my arm like this, you can see it just misses like right where my wrist is, I would say. Like, if it was just like a little bit longer, that's my wrist. As I'm moving around and kind of just let the sleeves lay the way that they want to, they're just short of my wrist. And if you've watched me for a little bit, you know that I prefer my sleeves to be definitely on the longer side, like them being past where my thumb is, and like up to here is like totally pretty fine for me. Yeah, so they're a bit short for me, and part of that reason is because I just followed the pattern for the decreases, and then there is a section that says if you haven't reached this length, then you can keep knitting them straight with no decreases. But I also had this feeling that this stitch pattern would grow the fabric during blocking, and so I didn't want to make the sleeves, even though I like long sleeves, I didn't want them to be crazy long. And so I think because it is a non-superwash yarn, it didn't grow as much as I was anticipating for the sleeve length, but it is a very wearable length for me. It's actually quite nice. Like, I think I've said this before recently I feel like some of my sleeves have been on the shorter side, but I feel like it's kind of nice because especially if these sleeves are a bit more on the fitted side for me, you can kind of see those decreases. Like, there's some positive ease, but not too much. You can see, I guess, like right where, my wrist is. But it's nice if I'm kind of like moving around and needing to hold things, like it doesn't feel like the sleeves are like drooping and kind of like all over the place. So I do feel like, this shirt and sleeve length have like a very nice kind of like use case. I feel like saying a sweater has a use case is kind of sounds weird for some reason, but I hope you understand what I'm trying to get at. But I love this. I've been wearing it quite often, even though it's been on the warmer side here lately weather-wise. Because this is fingering weight, I've just been kind of like, I'm not like torturing myself by being warm in a like a wool sweater while it's hot outside, but like it has been working for me and it's fine, especially once it gets a little bit cooler during the night, or like still in my office where it is, like in the house, it's like still kind of cool. It's cool down here. So it's been nice. It's been really nice. It's, I think, quite perfect for this time of the year. So yeah, it's been great. I love it. I'm obsessed. I can't stop looking at it. Just the colors are so pretty in the stitch pattern. Also, this yarn is so nice. I think that this is my first time using a non-superwash, the Earthy sock base from Explore Knits. And so this is my first time kind of like wearing it, and I've worn it a few times already for length of time, and it's been very comfortable, really nice. Would knit with again, would definitely knit this pattern again. I want to make, again, with a lot of patterns that I like and they feel like basic, not basic in terms of like, but just like staple pieces. I'm just like, I want to make a tonal version of this. So I'm just looking in my yarn cabinet and just trying to figure out which color I would like to have my next one in. So I don't know if I would make a second one this year because there's a lot of other things I want to make and have plans for. But I would really, really love to have another one of this. Different color, longer sleeves. probably same size. I do like how this one feels. So yeah, so this is my Market Henley. Very, very happy with it. Oh, and it was my first purchased pattern from Claire Jackson, Perfectly Knotted. I did finish a test for her very recently, but I did start this before I did the test knit for her. So now I have 2 finished objects that are patterns by Claire, so that's really exciting. Okay, let's move on to my finished objects. I have 3. I have 3 finished objects, and it has been 2 weeks, almost 2 weeks, since the last time we've talked. So, yeah, but a lot of these were actually very close to being done, and so it's not that crazy. But I'm so excited for these. Okay, let me talk about this one first. Okay, I finished. None of these are washed or blocked, so you're seeing them unblocked first, and then you'll see them in a future episode after it's washed and blocked, and I'll wear it and talk about it some more then. But, ta-da! This is my Metropolitan Pullover by Tori. It looks great on the camera. Like, it looks so flowy and comfortable and squishy. I use Camellia Fiber Company Somme DK yarn in the colorway New York, and I knit size 1, and I use US 10 needles, 6.0 millimeter needles to knit this. And yeah, I'm pretty sure all I needed to do was finish the sleeve. Actually, did I also have to finish the body? Did I have to go back and finish the body? I think I took out all my stitch markers because I'm getting ready for this to block. Like, I'm probably going to wash and block this. Well, I'm going to wash and block it this coming week. I want to wash and block these other things too. So hopefully this coming week I'll do all of that. But I have no stitch markers. I don't remember where I was, but I'm pretty sure I was very close. I must have, okay, here's what I think. I think I needed to finish a sleeve, like just do the I-cord, and then I needed to finish the body, and there wasn't too much more left to do. For this one, I did just knit the body I didn't really measure it. I kind of just kept holding it up to myself, and I wanted this to be, I'm pretty sure that I did lengthen it from what the pattern, suggests for the length. Of course, for any pattern, you can make it longer if you wish, but I lengthened it, mostly is because I didn't want to have too much leftover yarn, although I still have a little bit left and then a full skein left. And so there was no way I was going to make it long enough to use up another full skein of this yarn. Each skein is 50 grams, by the way, but I did make it longer because I wanted this. It's so fluffy. This yarn is like, I'm pretty sure it's like a blown tube construction yarn. It's like very fuzzy. It kind of like, the fuzz kind of flies everywhere. I will say it's slightly annoying. Like, it flies even more everywhere than Suri does, I feel like. But it feels so soft. This gauge is huge, and so even though it's like a DK weight fluffy yarn, like, it still feels light to hold. Like, it doesn't feel really bulky. I will just stand up so you can see the length on this. It's longer than my Market Henley currently right now. I really just wanted this to be nice and not necessarily, it's not oversized, but I did want it to have a nice, comfortable, long length for both the body and the sleeves. These sleeves will definitely be a favorite length of mine, I think. So, yeah, I did not do, the only modification I made was to lengthen the body length, but I did all the finishings as stated in the pattern. So it is I-cord bind offs for the sleeves and for the body hem, and then for the neckline pickup, it's a rolled neckline. And then for the sleeve, there are 2 sleeve options in the pattern. One is a tapered sleeve, I think is how it's described. So it's like, has decreases to the cuff. And the other one is just straight. And so I went, because again, this is like such a fluffy, nice yarn, I wanted to have a lot of drape and kind of that feel and look. And so I went with the straight sleeve. So there's no decreases on the sleeve. there's just, at the end, I did just, as again, the pattern says, to go down in needle size, to kind of like give a little bit of that taper in, for the I-cord. My I-cord bind-offs are usually pretty big, or loose, and so I don't think this is as tapered as I was hoping, but it is all good. Here's what the other sleeve I-cord bind-off looks like, but I haven't worn it yet. I'm going to do it after I wash it and block it, but I am really excited to try this out. I know it's summer and does not seem like the right time to be wearing a fluffy DK weight sweater, but I would still like to try and wear it. Things, when you finish something, it feels the best when you start wearing it right after, I feel like. I don't like to wait to wear some of my finished objects, so I will probably just try and wear this and see how it goes. Hopefully it's not too hot. I mean, again, it's like a really big gauge. It feels, or it's a similar idea to the Doppio sweater, because that's a much thicker yarn that's held together. For me, the ones that I've done, it was basically 3 strands of stuff held together, like a fluffy, 2 fingering, and I think my second one was a fluffy, like a lace weight fluffy, right? Fingering and a sport weight held together, all together. And I thought that would be really, really warm to wear, and it's warm, but not as warm and thick as I thought it would be. I thought it would be almost unwearable for most cases. It'd have to be really cold. But last year, during the summertime, around this time of the year, maybe in July, whenever it got just a little cold, I could still wear my Doppio sweater. Indoors, not outside. But it's comfortable. And again, I think it's because the gauge is so big that it does let it breathe a little bit. And so I think similar with this one, even though this is DK weight yarn, I think because of the gauge, also because of the kind of the eyelet, the yarn over holes that get created around the arm, front and back. I don't know, it just has this breathable kind of design to it. So I'm looking forward to wearing this. Yay. I'm really happy with this, and also it's nice because the yarn for this was something I got from one of my friends from one of our yarn swaps. So it's also kind of nice to use yarn that I acquired from my friends. So that's really fun. And then also another fun thing is that this means I have a finished object for the PKW Flock U Knitalong that I'm doing with my friends Meghan and Emily. And so I have mine's finished. This is again the Knitalong that we're hosting for it's our Flock Knitalong. So the Knitalong will end at the end of Flock, and the Knitalong is to knit Tori U patterns. And I know this is not a summer pattern by Tori U to make for this summer Knitalong, but this is also on my Make 9, and so now I have another finished Make 9 finished object. And but yeah, so now I'm there's still time until Flock, and so I'm hoping I can get another Tori U pattern done. Maybe this time I will pick a summer pattern. Maybe her new tank top pattern would be really fun. I just need to look for some yarn that I could use for it, but really excited and happy about this one. So that's my first finished object in the past 2 weeks. And then okay, this one. Okay, my next finished object is the Book Club Cardigan by Sari and Nordlund. The yarn I used for this is Woolberry Fiber Co. Berry worsted in the colorway New York in the fall. And I knit size 1, and I started with the recommended needle size, which is US 6 needles, 4.0 millimeter needles for the main parts of the body. And then I somehow, when I picked it back up in the last month or so, I somehow ended up changing it to a US 7, 4.5 millimeter needles to knit the rest of the body and also both sleeves. I think for the sleeves, it was probably a great idea that I size up my needles for it, even though it was accidental, because there was a lot of comments, I think, for this pattern that the sleeves were pretty tight for most sizes, and a lot of people size up the sleeves that they made versus the size of the rest of the body part of the cardigan that they made. But I think with the bigger needle size, it probably did make my gauge just a tad bit larger so that the sleeves fit nicely. I followed the instructions for size 1 for the sleeves as well as the body. And yeah, I think it looks great. I finally finished. I think last time, again, I'm like preparing these to wash and block, and so I don't have that much stitch. I have one stitch marker here that I haven't taken off yet. That this was to help me with the buttonholes, but I've taken off all of the progress markers. But I think where I was last time was I in the middle of doing the button band? So I finished that. It's a double knit button band, and there's 4 buttonholes that are made along the right side, and then yeah, it just goes all the way around as other buttonholes do. Okay, I feel like maybe I also need to actually make the pockets, because I don't remember talking about and discussing these pockets and how they're made. But yeah, I'm just gonna hold it up. You will see this again once it's like fully finished and I'm wearing it and can discuss more about it. I'm just trying to hold out the sleeve. The pattern, the cable pattern that's on the sleeve, I did pretty much like 4 full diamonds on the sleeve. I'm very pleased with this. The length that I ended up going with for the rest of the cardigan, I was honestly a little worried about running out of yarn. So I did just stop it kind of like at this widest part of the diamond cable pattern. So I didn't finish it up, but I think it looks fine. I did like consult, like I looked at the other Ravelry project pages for this to see what the cardigan looked like on the body if it wasn't like the fully complete diamond at the bottom, and I thought they looked fine, and so that's what I went with. Also because it was already at a length that I liked, and I didn't want to make it, like that would probably be maybe 2 inches longer, and so it was already at a length I liked, and so just kept it that way. Okay, the pockets for these, very interesting. This is my first time making pockets in this construction, and the pockets look funky right now, I feel. They just look poofy, and I'm hoping with blocking it'll flatten it a little more, but these pockets are worked in the round, and it's also like, let me just turn it inside out, because you work it like this. So if you maybe remember, so there was a point in the pattern where you kind of knit a section where your pocket is with some scrap yarn, and then, but it's still like attached, right? And so this is how it looked. Like it was all knit together here. There's some scrap yarn, and then you did some ribbing to mark, the top part of the pockets. And then you go back and you take out the scrap yarn, and so that you have, the stitches up here and also the stitches right at the top of the ribbing here that are live stitches. So you pick those back up, and then you start working in the round. And I was like, what is going on? And so this is the pocket inside out, right? This is the right side. This is the right side of the cardigan. Okay, and so this pocket is then, I hope that talking about this construction isn't like, it's a paid pattern, so I don't want to talk too much about it, but I feel like this is fine, but like, the top part, you like continue doing the ribbing, so inside of the pocket, there is the ribbing pattern, and the other side is just knit, and then you 3-needle bind off the bottom part of the pocket here, and so you're working it like this, with the pocket outside, and then you fold it in to make the actual pocket. And so the pocket it's like a full-on pocket. And what I was anticipating, or because I don't read the instructions usually in advance of me doing the instructions. Like if I'm working on sleeves, I'm not looking at the instructions for the pocket. I read the instructions for the pocket while I'm about to work on the pocket. So only at this point of working on it, I was like, whoa, what is happening? So it is a little bulky on the inside because there's actually now like 3 layers of fabric that's going to be up against, this front part, at this part of the pocket, right? You have your actual cardigan body fabric, and then there's the 2 sides of this pocket. And it doesn't say anything about sewing this down. I actually thought what was going to happen was there was just going to be 1 layer that gets made, and then it gets, sewn on all sides to the front part of this cardigan to make the pocket. But in this case, you don't have to sew it on for the pocket to work, because it's 2-sided. It's all worked in the round. But I think depending on how this turns out after blocking, I may just kind of like tack down the corners of this to the inside so that it doesn't kind of just like move around. But yeah, I thought that was pretty interesting. And also, I do think, even though it's like more work to do the cables, and you're not going to really see that on the inside of the pocket, right? Because it's on the inside. I do think it is kind of nice, so at least there's not like a hard break, right? Like if you are doing something like this with the pocket, at least that cable pattern still continues, and it is actually quite nice to have that detail there. Maybe makes it a bit more bulky, but I was fine with it. It's a pretty small section to knit, and so it wasn't that bad to do. But yeah, I'm curious to see how this lays flat, hopefully, after washing and blocking, because yeah, right now it kind of just, it's looking a bit poofy right here, and there's not like a very defined kind of like top of the pocket like ribbing right here. So, but anyway, so that was, I'm pretty sure that I did not talk about that before. So yeah, pockets and the double knit button band all the way around. Turned out really nice. Gosh, I love the color of this. It's so pretty. I think it works really nicely with an all over cabled cardigan. The back is so pretty with that. Also, forgot to mention that I did use a mod of this cardigan. Megan, my friend who also has a podcast here on YouTube, A Naughty Mess, she helped, also because this pattern is something that there's like a group of our friends are also making this, in the middle of making it, planning on making, maybe didn't cast on yet, or maybe had some difficulties and had to rip it out, but we're all kind of planning on making this, and so Megan got some mods from another user on Ravelry and kind of adjusted it for all of our sizes. And yeah, she has talked more in detail about it, but kind of the main issue was that we just didn't like the join in the original pattern from the back shoulder and the front shoulder, and so the mod fixes that, so it starts really nicely here with that diamond cable pattern, and then it also adds this nice 2x2 cable, twisted cable on that edge, and also on the edge around the armhole, and then it also really nicely joins up under the arm. So this is an added cable section for the mod. And then for my size, I did make a mod on the mod where so if I show you the side, again, this is the underarm right under the armhole. So this is the back and this is the front, right? In the mod initially for this size, it did not have this seed stitch column going down, so it was just like straight, kind of like this, and I thought that was kind of weird. I thought it looked kind of weird. I didn't work too much of it yet before I decided to make the change, but I thought it would look weird because there's seed stitch on this side. And so I just added a few more. I didn't add the same amount. As you can see, I think this might be like 5 seed stitch, and this is 3. And because I didn't, again, the more you add, we've already added stitches, so I think it's a little bit bigger. I was worried about running out of yarn. I didn't want to add too much, but I thought 3 was going to be better than none, and so that was also the mod I made. Yeah, so lots of, the first, it was like less than half though. The first, I guess, time that I cast this on and made some progress, felt like I was kind of fighting with it. It honestly wasn't all that enjoyable to work on. I was like, I just have to get it done. And then I worked on a whole bunch of other projects instead. Then when I picked it back up in like very recent weeks, like past month maybe, I really enjoyed it. Really, really enjoyed it. And as you can see, I mean, it kind of like flew off the needles pretty much. Because now it's done. I wasn't expecting for this to get done as soon as it did, but I am happy about it. And I think part of it too is because it is a worsted weight yarn, right? And so bigger gauge, thicker yarn. But I fully enjoyed working on this for the second time that I picked this up, and so very happy with that. It's always nice when you're enjoying working on something and not just feel like you're dreading it or like it's a chore to have to knit on. And so overall, really happy with this and how it's come out. I think it looks great. Worth the struggle with the mods for me. And yeah, I just need to wash and block it so that it'll actually lay a bit more flat and kind of things will just be smoothed out a little bit. But yeah, I'm excited to see how this washes and blocks, and then I'll wear it, and then I'll be really, really cozy, and I think it'll be a really well-worn cardigan for the rest of this year. The rest of, I mean, forever, but like, yeah, I'm really looking forward to wearing this as a very good, easy to throw over anything kind of cardigan. Okay. So that's finished object number 2. I know I'm talking a lot about my finished objects, and you will see these again because I will wear them and talk about it more with more details as far as like, you know, wearing and all of that in a future podcast episode. But I do need to catch up because I still have some other finished objects that I haven't worn yet, and so I'm catching up. I like having kind of sort of a backlog on finished objects to wear on the podcast, but not too much. But yeah, okay. Moving on to my third finished object. This one is crazy because this is also one of a new cast-ons that I cast on in the past since the last time I've talked to you all. So it's a new cast-on. It's also a new finished object. It is a project. It is a pattern that I've been wanting to make for quite a while, and I just haven't had the motivation to do it. And then I was like, all right, I finished a few things already, and I want to cast on. I want to reward myself by casting on something new. And I was like, it's time. I need to make this. I need to cast it on. And then I just worked on it a whole bunch, and I got it done. Thankfully, it is a summerish top. Ta-da! Okay, this is the Plenilune tee by Alicia Plummer. I think that this is the first time that I've knit a pattern by her. I meant to look that up before recording this podcast, but I do think this is the first time. I want to knit other of her patterns, but just haven't gotten to it yet. But finally made this. I used the recommended yarn, or the yarn that she used for her samples of this, which is the Moondrake Co. Fuwa yarn in the colorway Rose Quartz. And if that sounds familiar to you, it's because I've used this yarn for a different project, I think last year. 2 years ago? I got this yarn at the first year of Flock, and that was in 2023. So I made a sweater pattern with it, and then I had one skein plus a little bit of another skein. so maybe like 1.5-ish, maybe 1 3/4 left over of this yarn, and I was trying to figure out, it's such a special yarn, and it's a really soft, fluffy yarn. This is an expensive yarn. It has cashmere in it. It's like a brushed cashmere merino yarn. So luxurious feeling, but because it's such a special, precious yarn, I really wanted to make sure I got the most out of it and used it all. And so I was looking up for patterns. What could I make with like one skein and a little over half of it left? And each skein is 50 grams, 315 yards. And then I came across this pattern that uses this yarn, and it was the perfect amount for me to use this. And so I finally made it. I've been, again, because I bought this yarn in 2023. I don't remember. I must have finished the other top either in 2023 or earlier 2024, I think. And so ever since then, I've planned to use the leftovers for this tee, and I've just never done it. But now I have, and now it's done, and I'm really pumped about it, and I'm quite excited, and I want to wear it. This is, and I knit size B. I wanted this to be really nicely, like, on this slightly, I wanted lots of positive E's. Maybe not lots, but I could have gone with size A probably and been fine, but I did want, again, I'm also trying to use up as much of this yarn as possible. Knit size B, thought that would be okay. And then I also knit this longer than the pattern states, and so that is the one modification I made. Like, I think it might be like this much longer than the pattern states. So it's quite a bit longer, but I think with the size of it and how much positive ease I have, it's going to be really nice and drapey. And so really looking forward to that. And the gauge is huge on this. It's going to be quite see-through. Like, I'm going to need to wear a top under this, at least for me, for my comfort. Kind of hard to tell actually how open and see-through this is. Maybe I need because my wall is pink, and so you can kind of, maybe you can see it like this if I hold it close up. I mean, you can see me through it, right? So it's going to be a little see-through, but it'll be nice and cool-ish, even though it is a fluffy cashmere merino yarn. Again, I think because of the big gauge and openness of the fabric, it'll be still pretty cool to wear. It is short sleeve. I'm excited again to wear this, to try it out. I briefly tried it on, but I haven't tried it on fully yet, and so it's just it's so soft. It's so soft. And so I'm just, overall, this is a really happy project for me. Because I've been wanting this for so long, and it's finally done. Okay, I do have some things about the construction, or I have thoughts about the construction on this. This is worked top down. Also, okay, wait, how cute are the cables on this? It's very sparsely placed cables, and they kind of alternate. Kind of reminds me of the Seaway pullover by Ozetta. But it also has these garter stitch stripe sections that go through it. I just think it's a really cute pattern. Okay, this is worked top down. And also, as you can see, the sleeve, there's basically, once you split for the sleeves, or once you connect under the arms, you basically you don't knit more. I mean, you can if you want, but for the pattern, you just kind of pick up and you immediately bind off. So the sleeves are shorter, but also it's, anyway, you'll see it when I wear it in a future podcast episode, how it looks on me, but So I thought that was interesting. And the bind-offs for this are just like basic bind-offs. It's just like, you can choose whichever bind-off you want, but the pattern does kind of like suggest just like a standard bind-off, like a knit bind-off. And so that is what I did for the sleeves, for the hem, and also optional for the neckline. You can go back and pick it up and then bind off. The pattern says stretchy bind off, but obviously I don't have I can't show you before what this neckline looked like, but because it is, this was, the cast on was the neckline pretty much. It was pretty floppy, and because I did go up a size, I felt, I chose a size that is maybe like one size bigger than recommended for the ease for me. I didn't want the neckline to be floppy, and so I did just do a standard. I picked up and then I did immediately a knit bind off, and so I think it's really nice. It's clean. I think looks a lot cleaner. Lines and really kind of like pulls it in a little bit. I'm very happy with how this neckline turned out with the knit bind off. But so the finishings were very simple, nothing crazy. Okay, the construction, the build up of this raglan, like the increases for the body and the sleeves. Very interesting. I didn't really quite know what was happening. Thankfully, this one, I felt like you had to read the instructions and think about it and understand. There was a note on how to do something, but then it doesn't say to do that when it was all kind of worded a little weird, if I'm being completely honest. I was a little confused. And it just all had to do with how the increases happened for the raglan. And again, it's a paid pattern, and so I don't want to say too much, but it involved yarn overs. And but the yarn overs weren't meant to create holes. Unlike this, although this is a different construction, but unlike the Metropolitan pullover, where there's a whole bunch of yarn overs with the purpose of making holes like this, this one, that was not the case. And so there's a way to resolve those yarn overs, and so they become just an increase of stitch. But it was a different, I don't think I've ever done that for a pattern, or if I did, that it just explained it a lot differently. So I think it looks fine, although again, it's such a holy, or a very large gauge fabric that maybe it would be hard to see, but no holes, no purposefully yarn over holes in the raglan increase, and so I think I did it correctly. The other thing is it also used Japanese short rows instead, or it highly recommended to do Japanese short rows, and I thought I've done them before. I did have to look up a video on how to do them again, but it was fine. But the instructions in the pattern were also kind of worded weirdly on doing the Japanese short rows. It didn't explain it. It just said Japanese short row here, and I was again, it was just oddly confusing. But I worked through it, and it was fine. I think I saw on some other people's Ravelry pages of this that they were also kind of confused by the instructions. And so, again, it could just be me. I also, because maybe I'm just not used to yet this designer's wording of things, because I'm pretty sure this is my first time making an Alicia Plummer pattern. But it all worked out in the end. I'm very happy with the end product. I just need to, again, wash and block it. But all the ends are woven in, and it's, ticking off a lot of boxes for me that make me happy. So just being a project that I've wanted to make for a while. It's using up some of the leftover yarn I had from a previous project, which is also really great. And it is, I'm calling this a summer knit. It's a summer knit. It's a tee, and it's really light and airy kind of yarn. And so, yeah, it's just makes me happy. I'm like kind of surprised I finished this as quickly as I did, but I also did spend, last weekend, I had a lot of knitting time. And so I kind of just spent like the entire weekend and then the rest of the beginning parts of this week working on this. And so that is why it is done so quickly. Also, big gauge. Big gauge. Did I say the needle size? US 8 5.0 millimeter needles to knit this. And so, again, it's, works out really nicely. Yeah, the pattern was just a little weird in the beginning. But once I was connected in the round for the body, easy peasy, just follow the pattern, the stitch pattern. And it's nice because the stitch pattern was also pretty easy to memorize after a little bit. And there's also lots of stockinette that happens. And so once you're in the round, you just like knit a whole bunch. And it's great. This yarn just feels so great and it's so light. I kind of just want to do this. Just so nice. I'm really loving the fluffy knits right now. Speaking of fluffy knits, I do have another new cast on to talk about, but before I get to that, let's move on to whips. I only have 2 because the rest of all of these I was working on the past weeks and I got them done. So I only have 2 other things that I worked on that are not done yet. I got more done on my my June socks. Sorry, I'm like trying to grab them here. I got more done on my June socks and it's great. Okay, I finished one side, which is really exciting. I work these top down, cuff down, so you can see my stitch marker here, and so I did a whole bunch. I worked all from here all the way down. I did the heel and I finished the foot. So here they are, so cute. And then I started my second one because whenever I finish, it's kind of like with a sleeve pickup or with socks. Once I finish one, I immediately have to start the other side. Otherwise, it's going to be really hard to go back and pick it up later. Just like motivation wise for me. So I did start. Okay. They're all over 2x2 rib sock. And this is kind of, I'm not really following a pattern for like the entire sock, but I am following a pattern for the heel. And this is exciting because this is the Fish Lips Kiss heel that I did on this first sock, and then I'm going to do for the second sock. So I followed the instructions. There is a pattern by Socks Therapist on Ravelry that goes through how to do the Fish Lips Kiss heel. And so that is the pattern I used just for the heel, and the rest of the sock it's just 2x2 rib at 60 stitches. I did a 60 stitch cast on. Okay, here's the heel. I can hold it up close. What I think this is my favorite heel. I have a feeling, I don't know, I think that this is my favorite heel. I think it fits really nicely. Obviously, I'm going to try it out more on different socks in the future, since this worked out so nicely. But I really, really, really like it. Okay. Since, okay. Some parts of this look kind of weird, but it's on me. One thing I do want to note is I decided to do a very similar to the DRK Everyday Socks, which is all over 2x2 rib, although those are worked toe up. But for the foot of the sock, usually on the bottom half of the sock, it's just plain stockinette, and then you do the pattern on the top. But for this one, I decided to just do all over 2x2 rib to continue that all around. And so you do see when I finish the heel, which is done in stockinette, that actually I should hold it this way, that the rib starts here. And so I think that just kind of like where the rib pattern starts looks a little uneven here because it's really tall at the top here and really short at the bottom. But that is because the pattern for the heel does say to do some stockinette on the heel, kind of just like straight. Like if you have a pattern, to do stockinette on the back for a little bit before you actually start the short rows for the heel. So this heel, I am no expert, so don't, I'm just saying from my experience, this heel is very similar to a short row heel. And I would actually, it is a short row heel. It is a type of short row heel. And I've done them before, and I was not quite happy with them. But it's been a while since I've done one. But I want to say I think the biggest difference with this one is how to do the short rows. Because the other ones I've had, and I think a lot of problems that people have with it, is just like the holes that it creates where the short row happens. And so again, I want to show you this. Like, usually I think people complain about short row heels because of this part here. A lot of holes get created doing the short row. But this one uses the twin stitch to do the short rows, and I think that helps a lot with making it not have those holes. And so it's just a really nice, clean, like no hole short row heel. I feel like I could have said all of that in like a fourth of all the words that I just used, but yeah, I'm just trying to work through how I'm thinking about this as well. But I do think that is what this heel is. It uses the twin stitch instead of like a German short row or a wrap and turn or something. And it's funny because I have used the twin stitch before in my Kermode hoodie. Do you remember that? My big purple boucle hoodie cardigan that had the bear ears on it. That was the first time I ever heard of and used a twin stitch. And it was used for a short row, like the turn part of it. And yeah, I guess in the boucle, right, it was a little bit harder. Like, you can't really see because of the boucle, like what the stitch actually looks like. But in this one, it does really have just a nice tight, you don't actually have to like pull, on German short rows, you kind of have to pull it tight to make sure there's no hole or anything like that. Like this one, it was just so nice and clean and simple. I really enjoyed it, and so I'm looking forward to working on this heel again for the second side of the sock, and just doing that heel again. And then I think that depending on what pattern I decide to do for my next future socks, or I guess my July socks, I would potentially just switch out the heel that I work to be this Fish Lips Kiss heel. Because I put on this sock and I really like how this fits. And it's really funny because I don't think I've ever didn't like a fit of a heel. Like, I didn't quite understand what it meant when people said a heel didn't quite fit for them, or they have certain heel constructions fit their foot better. Because I was like, they fit. Like, sometimes I think most of my fit issues with socks are the size that I made, or like the resulting circumference of like the foot, and then the rest of the sock is like either too loose or it's too tight. And I was like, I don't think it's ever the heel construction for me. It was always just like the sizing for me. But this heel feels really nice. Fits really nicely. It does just feel snug everywhere. And now I want to experiment and just like wear my different socks and actually really like compare it to this now on how they feel. Because then maybe now I'll actually feel the difference in the different heel constructions of socks. But yeah, I'm really excited for this. I'm really glad that this happened. We're like, this is the halfway sock of the year, and so I'm excited to see kind of like, yeah, I'm glad I didn't do this at the end of the year, because then now I still have the rest of the year to experiment using this heel some more. So anyway, that was a lot about just a heel of a sock, but it is my first time doing it, and so it worked out really nicely. If you buy this specific pattern, also thank you to the viewer. Someone did gift me this pattern on Ravelry. Thank you so much for that. I am really happy with the result. But if you do decide to or have this pattern for the heel, the pattern's quite long. Like, there's a lot of pages describing how to measure your foot and how to do all these things, and I skip through it all. I feel like I've knit enough socks where I kind of like know where I'm going to start the heel. Also, I think it's a lot easier if you don't know kind of where to start the heel to do this top down. Also, because this heel you can also do toe up, and the instructions have instructions for toe up and cuff down. But I think because I didn't quite know when you do toe up, you have to know exactly where you want your heel to go. Otherwise, because that determines the length of the foot. However, if you do cuff down, as long as, if you're not super concerned about how long this part is or short, or, you know, not super specific about the length of it, you can just start the heel at any time, and then it's fine. You know what I mean? So that is why I decided to do a cuff down for this first time of the sock. But now that I have this, I can use this as a template, right, for my future socks. If I want to use this heel, I will know exactly where to start if I did do toe up, because I will know where my ribbing stopped. Right here is where to start that heel. So yeah, this is like a good template sock, I feel like, for this heel construction. Whew, that was a lot of words about a sock, but yeah, starting the second sock. We're a little over halfway done with the month. I think I could get this done in the month of June, so we will see. I forgot, I did not talk about the yarn at all. This yarn is Sewrella yarn classic sock in the colorway The Garden Room, and it is a very variegated colorway. I said this last time, I'm going to hold up the sock again, that there is some color pooling, which I was predicting based off of how the yarn looked in the skein. So if you look at just where the purple is, there is quite a bit of color pooling. But I think that the way that the green shows up on here, the green looks pretty like stripes, and so it kind of breaks up the rest of the colors that are doing the color pooling. I guess you can say the greens are also color pooling, but it definitely just turns out more like stripes. And so I'm very pleased with how this yarn is knitting up in the colorway. So very happy with that. And then, oh yeah, I use a 60 stitch cast on for my sock, and I'm using US 1 needles, 2.25 millimeter needles for that. It's my default sock needles. Okay, now finally my new cast on for the week. Ooh, this is another good one because I've been wanting to make this for a while. I've had yarn for it, planned for it for a while, and it's one of my Make 9. I needed to have something on my needles. I feel like to be on track for finishing all of my Make 9 projects, I need to have one of them, at least one of them on my needles at all times. This is the Robinson Wrap cardigan by Florence Miller. I'm going to hold up what I have. Eee! It is so cute, and it's already starting to take shape. Yes, I did this. I don't have that many whips to talk about. Like, this is just the second whip that's not a finished object to talk about this week because, yeah, I've been working a lot on them. Just like individual projects, I feel like. So, yeah, that's what I have so far. I'm going to hold it up again. And maybe, yeah, lay it on me like this so you can actually like see it. So it is a full-on wrap, so you can see there's it's worked flat. There's increases, you know, to do the wrap. This yarn that I'm using is Woolberry Fiber Co. Berry Suri held together with Berry Merino, so it's a fingering weight plus a Suri in the colorway, both in the colorway Sweatshirt, which is a really nice, like, gray, purpley gray. It's actually very similar. It looks very similar to my Metropolitan Pullover colorway, but I think the Metropolitan is more blue. This is more purpley, but it's very similar. And see, more fluff. This might be kind of warm for summer, but it's a wrap cardigan, so I feel like it still feels right to make this now. And I am knitting size B, and I'm using US 6 needles, 4.0 millimeter needles to knit this for like the main part of the body, because I did size down. You do size down your needles for the ribbing. Okay, sizing wise, this is supposed to be a pretty fitted cardigan, and so if you're kind of like between sizes, I think they recommend to go up a size. And so that is what I decided to. I don't want this to be too tight. I don't like clothing that's too tight anyway. And so I did decide to go with size B. So I think that there should be a little bit of positive ease on this, but I have gotten really far with just the first skeins of both of my yarn. I am basically done with my first skein of Suri, and it got me this far, which is crazy. As you can see, and this is worked top down, as you could maybe tell, there is raglan increases. So you can see I have the sleeve stitches on hold right now, and then increases are done all across the fronts, both fronts here. And right now, I'm actually already at the point where I made the hole for the, where the tie is going to go through on the side. And then I am starting the ribbing already. The ribbing is going to be in the pattern, I think it says like 14 centimeters, so I think it's more than 4 inches. So the ribbing is a longer section. I really like the look of the longer ribbing section on this wrap cardigan. I think that's why I'm so was very drawn to this particular pattern for this wrap cardigan, for a wrap cardigan. I really wanted this specific one. So again, this isn't another pattern that I'm like, I've had the yarn planned for this one for a while. I just haven't made it, and so that's why it's on my Make 9, because I was like, I gotta make it already. And I'm so excited that I am. It's been really fun to work on. I don't know what it is. Like, it's just a normal, like, raglan construction, increases on, you know, across the fronts, and it's just stockinette. But there's something about it that's been, I don't know, I've found really enjoyable this past week. Maybe it's the yarn choice too. It's just so nice and fluffy. It's nice. I really like working with a fingering weight plus a Suri, and so do really like that. Oh, I think that I had to, maybe I didn't have to size down, okay, I'm using the recommended needle size, but it is a pretty thick fabric, I think, because the Suri might be, Suri's a bit thicker than mohair, and I think Florence probably used mohair for their sample of this, but yeah, I am very happy with where I'm at right now. So right now I'm just working straight ribbing for a bit, and I think usually what I do when I run out of my first ball of yarn working on the body, I will switch to sleeves. But I think in this case, I'm not worried about running out of yarn. I have 3 skeins of the fingering weight and also the Suri. I'm not worried about running out, and so I will just probably continue and finish the body. Since this one is a shorter, like, cropped design, and so I'm going with the recommended length and row, however much. I'm following the pattern so far, no modifications. So I'm just going to finish up the body when I connect with a new ball of yarn, and then I will do the sleeves after that. And then there is going to be a double knit neckband around the, the fronts and stuff. So there'll still be like more to do with that, but I mean, who knows? Like if I keep going with working on this as I have been this week, I could have the body of this all done by the next time I talk to you all. So yeah, I don't know. There's something about this one that's been really enjoyable. It could just be a whole bunch of factors, but I'm loving it. I'm, again, just really happy. Maybe it's because, again, it is all the things that I've already said that make me happy about this. So yeah, it's great. This is one of my new cast-ons, and it's going great. Very easy pattern to follow. Oh, I think that this is my first pattern that I'm knitting also by Florence Miller. So exciting, just kind of knitting with other designer patterns. And it's like, they're not like immediately new. It's like I follow them, I like their designs, I've been wanting to make their stuff for a while. So it's nice that like this year, I feel like I've been kind of venturing out a bit. Still obviously making designs from designers that I love and have made a lot of before. But I do like to make sure I try out some other designers as well. So that's been going great. And then there is actually one other cast on that I cast on last week. But it is a secret test knit, and so I cannot share anything about it. But I do want to let you all know that I am working on another secret test knit. This one I will not be able to share about until next year. It's going to be a very long time, and so I will not, this might be the only time I talk about it until I can actually share about it. But yeah, just letting you all know that I got into a secret test knit, and I'm really excited about it. I'm really, really liking how it's turning out so far. Really like the yarn that I'm using for it. And yeah, you'll see it all next year. But yeah, so some of my time this week has also been spent on that project as well. Okay, and then there was no spinning done. But I really, really want to get some spinning done like right after filming this and editing this video and all of that. So one other thing I do want to just discuss is I do have a new cast on that's happening very, very soon, and so I do want to share it with you all before I cast it on. But I'm finally going to be casting on a project with this yarn. If you remember me talking about it, or maybe you've heard Megan talk about it, or maybe Emily talk about it on their podcast, our knitting group, our knitting friend group is, at least a lot of us, I think, all of us or most of us are planning on knitting tops with this colorway. This is ZZ Textiles. I got the silk sock base, but all of us got the colorway Nordlund, and it is this amazing green color. And some of us in the group have already cast on, and I've seen some of them, and it looks so fun. And I was like, oh my gosh, I want to cast on soon as well. But I was waiting for a pattern to come out because I saw it go out in testing, and I was like, that's what I want to do, but I don't want to sign up for the test knit. I'll wait for it to come out. Oh, and we're planning on knitting this and hopefully have it all done in time for flock so that we can take, like last year, our friend group, we all knit something with Explorer Knits Pike Place colorway, like the red orangey color, and we took a group picture, and it was really, really fun. And so this year it's going to be this color. I already wound up one skein, but we're all going to hopefully be wearing this color for a group picture with our friends at Flock. But yeah, okay, so finally the pattern I was waiting for came out, and so I bought it. It is the Penelope top by Sari Nordlund, and oh my gosh, when I saw Sari Nordlund post this, just like I think it was like unfinished design of it, and I was like, oh my gosh, it's all the things that I love, pretty much. It is a lace It's a tank top with a lace hem. Already so cute, but it also has a I-cord like drawstring that you can tie into a bow right above like where the hem is, kind of like around the waist. And it's so cute. So cute. Right up my alley of things that I like. And so I was like, I was waiting for a pattern to come out, like a summer pattern for me to make with this yarn. I was hoping I wouldn't have to wait too long so that I would have a comfortable amount of time to cast on and make it before flock. But yeah, it's out now, and so I'm planning on casting this on this weekend, and I'm really looking forward to it. Also, I feel like, okay, this color isn't completely my color. This might be the only thing that I own in this color right now, and yarn-wise too. I don't really buy colors like this. I think it'll look great, and I love a group knit, but I do, again, we'll see how this top turns out in this color, but I feel like that top is something I would also love to make in another color as well in the future, just something a bit more toned down. I mean, this is a really pretty color. Who knows? Maybe it'll be kind of like some of my like bright red, like the Pike Place, and like the bright pink kind of colors that I was always like a little hesitant about because it seems kind of bright. But then I end up wearing it and I'm like, oh, it's really cute. Like I really like it. So it could be this color for me too. But I would also I do love that top in just like a pretty like neutral, I know kind of boring color. But yeah, who knows? Maybe I'll make multiples of them because it's so cute. It's such a cute top. But I did want to give a heads up that I am planning on casting that on this coming weekend. Okay, that is all. I am surprised at how long I've talked on this episode since I didn't really have that many. I've had more things to talk about and projects to talk about in other episodes, and this one was less things, but there must be something like psychologically where I'm like, oh, I have less things to talk about. I'm going to spend more time talking about them. So this episode's pretty long. Or I've had longer ones. Anyway, I am rambling now. Thank you so much for watching. Sorry it's been like 2 weeks. I am also busy next weekend, but I am hoping that I will find some time next week to film anyway. And so I'm hoping to have some time next week to film. But again, we'll see. So sorry for the kind of like inconsistency of my filming and posting schedule lately. It's a busy summer. And it's gonna continue getting to be busier and busier with more things to do on the weekend. So hopefully I have some free time during any of the days, I guess, to film. But yeah, thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. I had some pretty exciting projects this week, or the past 2 weeks, and so really, it's been really fun to talk about it. And yeah, I need to get to spinning, and I need to start washing and blocking some of these finished objects. And yeah, so that's my plan for the rest of today. And yeah, other than that, it's been a great day. Weather's been pretty nice. It's been on the cooler side, a little bit rainy here and there, but it hasn't been like really hot, which I do not like, and so it's been nice. Hope you've all had a great week. I hope you all have a great upcoming week. Let me know in the comments down below what you've been working on while watching or listening to this podcast. If you have any cool summer plans as well, feel free to share if you'd like. And I'm hoping to cast on more summer tops in the very near future, since I'm kind of getting these like sweater knits kind of off of my needles right now, though I've already cast on like another sweater. But yeah, I'm hoping to cast on a few more summer knits before the summer is done. But yeah, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye!